Oh, hey! Hey, it's a show. I got off on the right floor. Hi, everyone. This is the Crafty Boys. We're a bunch of guys that drink beer, talk about the beer, and then we talk about other crap that we just think of off the top of our heads because that's how we roll. Alan is naked. Roll. Dave has not.
I'm not wearing pants.
Hang on. There, I'm now pantless. All right. So, Dave, what are your pants? Tell us the status of your pants.
They are off.
Nice. Yeah. So, welcome to the show, everyone. We're going to now present to you. I don't know why I'm being so formal. We are now going to present to you the beer in question for the evening. The beer was chosen by Alan Ford, famed archaeologist of beerdom in Victoria, British Columbia. Introduce the beer for us, Dave. Or no, sorry, Alan.
Well, the beer today, Shane, is going to be a lovely little piece of liquid gold that is from the Hoyne Brewing Company in Victoria, British Columbia. And today we are going to be drinking the Hoyne Pilsner, sometimes also called
I'm certainly glad that you are able to provide us with this information. I will now show you my label.
The Hoyne.
There was some discussion before the show about the spelling of the label, and I was only half paying attention. So elaborate.
Why did you label it green, sir?
Because it is green. The text is there's the hops.
Mine is brown.
You can't. Oh yeah, look at that. Dave's is brown. Okay,
shows Dave. Sorry, roll that out again, there, Dave.
It's brown.
What the hell?
That's messed up.
Hoyne is
yours, Alan?
Fucking with us.
Oh shit! Knocking stuff over. What is yours, Alan? What does yours look like?
Well, mine I think looks the same as yours. It's got green on it and brown.
Yeah, it's got the green and it's got I mean, it looks like a label I would expect to see for this thing. But anyway, yeah.
Now, interestingly, this beer here on our label says Hoyne Pilsner. Now, at some point in the past, it was called the Hoyner Pilsner. And if I look on the Hoyne's website, they have a picture of this very label.
.ca/beers. Yes, of course I'm old.
And Hoyner, it shows the picture of the Hoyner Pilsner, which actually looks like a Hoyneck Pilsner, but regardless. It looks like at some point they removed the R from their label.
What the hell? That makes absolutely no sense. Why would they? I mean, granted, were I the people that run the place, I might not want my clientele to be confused by adding an R, because I mean, I can see what they're trying to do with the label. However, that is a little weird that they did that, because I'm trying to find
whatever. It doesn't affect the flavor of the beer. So let's open this puppy up.
Let's open this baby up. There we go.
It's not a baby, it's a puppy.
Hey, I'm using a penis this week.
I'm not.
Okay.
So there.
I'm going to be pouring this beer. And
now you guys may be wondering why I picked a Pilsner.
Because we haven't really done any, and look at that. There, the effervescent beer. There we go. Check this out.
Well, I figured, we haven't done a lot of Pilsners.
It smells like a Pilsner.
What's that look on your face? It smells like a Pilsner. Also, if there was any time you were ever going to drink a Pilsner, it would be in the summer. And we're right in the middle of summer right now. So I figured if we're going to do a Pilsner, now's the time. So
I agree, because holy hell, it's not hot over here in the Big Smoke, which actually we haven't seen
literally
blue sky for at least a week and a half, 2 weeks now.
Yeah, something like that.
Red suns, red moons, the whole thing. Red.
Yeah.
The red sun rises. Blood has been spilled on the night. But which you guys, of course, have something very similar. Although, Dave, you might be dodging that as well.
Oh, hell no. We've been buried for
you've been buried, yeah,
freaking days.
Yeah.
But
nothing but smoky haze over here.
A smoky haze, but check that out. So Hoyne, we've actually done some Hoyne before. He says, bringing up his spreadsheet, because, by the way, not that anyone really cares, but if you look at our fancy website, thecraftyboys.ca,
we have a website.
We do, but I actually updated it the other day with our map, our Crafty Boys brewery list, which basically is a map of all the. Not every single brewery is represented yet because I'm still going through older episodes, but there is a bulk of them up there now. And if you zoom out on the map and take a quick peek, you'll actually get to see that basically Europe and North America are represented, which means that beer from the Southern Hemisphere doesn't get here at all, which sucks because I have heard from friends. I have some friends who are from Chile. And they have actually
chili,
chili, warm chili. But there's Mexican beer that I know. I'm a Pacifico guy. If you want to compare Mexican beers, that's the beer that I kind of like because I stayed in Mexico for a number of weeks back in 1993. And that was the beer that the locals supposedly drink because they like to export the Corona to all of us jerks who don't know what beer is. So. That's their words, not mine. But of course,
I thought they preferred. Was it Sol?
Where I was, they were like all about the Pacifico. But again, I'm sure there's more than 2 beers out of that country. Right. But we've got some new information up there for people that want to go and look and see which beers are represented and which episodes they were, because that's how I like to roll.
You know what I want to do? I want to try a beer from Antarctica.
That would be very challenging to find. But you know what? Being that there have been many people who have stayed there for long periods of time, to the point where there was a famous Russian, I want to call him a cosmonaut, but that's not it. A famous Russian doctor. Yeah, but basically, he had to. You could look this up because I'm going to butcher the actual history here. But he actually had to do an operation on himself to remove his spleen. I was going to say his epididymis. No, his what is it over here on the right side? I don't know.
Appendix.
The appendix. Thank you. And he had to perform his own surgery to remove it because like people get them. They have issues with their appendix and they get appendicitis and then you got to take it out. So he had to take it out and it was a big deal because he was being helped. He had to do it on himself while being helped via video feed from other people who were trying to help him out. Because
that's like, hardcore.
Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Don't cut that. No, you can't see it. Don't cut it. But, I think they were concerned that, because he was going to pass out and no one else. I don't recall if he was alone. I don't think he was alone, but there were people that were not.
Well, what are they going to do if he passes out? I mean, it's like, he passed out.
Damn thing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We have confirmed. We have watched him die. So it's confirmed he has now died. Sucks to be him. However, that said, it would not surprise me, although it's probably against rules about going there, if somebody actually tried brewing alcohol down there. Probably not a smart thing to do, but again, you're in Antarctica.
I don't know. I think it would. I think it would be. I mean, low overhead. I mean, it's not like there's like a lot of demand to go down there. So we go down there, you brew the beer. It would be awesome for loggers and not like tree cutter downers, but like,
could you imagine like the amount of the loggers you could make down there? It's like, how cold does fermentation have to be? I don't know, but it's -40 outside. Let's see what happens.
Hey, so before we get too far off topic here, now that we've had a chance to try the Hoyne Pilsner or Hoyner Pilsner, what do we think?
Dave, go first.
I actually don't mind this. Don't mind it at all.
That's a stunning positive review from Dave. I don't mind
If you've
it.
ever watched this show before, and you probably haven't, Dave, his reviews are straight and to the point. And I quote Egon Spengler from the film Ghostbusters 2, short but pointless. So anyway, by the way, just to get this out of my brain, I watched a review the other day on YouTube from Mr. Plinkett.
Oh.
I think he does. He does. Red Letter Media is his channel, and he does reviews for films. And every once in a while, every few months, I'll probably pop in and watch one or two. But they're usually pretty in depth, and the reviews are a good half hour, 45 minutes long. And
Wow.
he reviews films, and he reviewed just the other day the Ghostbusters film from last year.
Hmm.
Now,
The all-female one.
the all-female one, which had a lot of crap going online about whether or not there should be female Ghostbusters. Whatever, stupid argument. Of course there should be, but I've not seen the film, so the amount of experience with this film that I've had is what I saw yesterday. And I don't want to watch it because it looks like trash. It looks horrible. It looks like a film that didn't know which audience it was supposed to be going for. Superman, Man of Steel, Superman versus Batman. Films that are very confused. They don't quite know which way to go, so they just basically let everything go. But the best part of the entire review was the director admitting in an interview that he basically let his actors, the four women, take over the film because he also wrote the screenplay. Is that a good thing? Probably not.
I don't know.
It was but anyway, from the clips I've seen just from that particular review, but from other places here and there, it's
I
not.
want to talk more about this, but let's talk about the beer.
But anyway, but let me talk about this first. The Hoyne. Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that effect! Oh yeah. Anyway, basically, for a Pilsner, this is actually quite good. It smells exactly the way that it should. It looks exactly the way that it should. But it actually tastes better than a Pilsner should. So
What?
well, okay, just stay with me for a second there, Dave, before you.
So the idea is that
lose your
Pilsner is shit. And
Okay,
this is
wait a second.
non-shit.
Hang on. Let's just go over some of the classics here. Kokanee. Okay, enough said then. You
Okay.
obviously have had some sort of stroke after I mentioned that. So, granted, I don't actually know if Kokanee is a Pilsner, but
I don't think it
matter
is
because-
actually.
But the reality is that any beer that is even touching sort of even a lager, for me, it's very hit and miss because they tend to. It feels like you're drinking a bit of water with it somebody's urinated into, a very flavorful urine, but you can't quite get. I mean, put it this way: for people that drink beer, drinking a lager or a Pilsner is generally where they will land the very first beer that they have. But the problem is, if they stay within that zone, if they maintain an obsession that is what beer really is, then they should be rounded up into camps and sent on ice floes. Because if they don't expend any energy to go, you know what, that Guinness over there, sure, it's made en masse, but let me try one. their entire vision, their entire whatever they've constructed inside of their holodeck of a brain, they are going to remember that Pilsner and lagers are only for certain times of year in certain types of company. You can't do that with your best friends. No. You have to give them beer that actually tastes decent and won't pillage their brain cells the next day, because that's what this here is like. The Horde. This is like a bunch of, I don't know, how about who could I pick that no one will get insulted about? These are the Mongols coming over the China Wall. The China Wall. Oh my God.
When did the Mongols rule China?
Yeah, exactly. The Great Wall of China. This is the beer that they were trying to keep out of China with the Great Wall of China. This is what they didn't want. They didn't want this. They were unhappy with the reality that this could actually be in their country. So
that's dedication. That is freaking
Jane, I want you to tell us, I mean, no more beating around the bush. Tell us what you really think about Pilsners.
my dad likes them.
Yeah.
Although my dad's more of a lager guy. And I remember actually last year, before I forgot where I was, at the Great Canadian Beer Fest, I was wandering around with my dad, who was looking for lagers. He was like, I'd like to have a lager. And we went to some tent on the furthest east part of the field you could get. Please don't look this up because I don't remember who it was, and I don't want to insult them because I like their other product. But they had a black lager. And I thought, oh my God, finally we found a lager, because this seems to be like dark beer central. And anything that was lagery pilsnery would be acceptable. But so we got this dark lager. Now, Red Truck last summer did, since they're across the street from me, did a dark lager that was actually really good. I was surprised that I liked it, and I had quite a bit of it over the summer. But then I saw dark lager. Okay, great. I know that Red Truck did one. They're not here this year, but this group did, and I like some of their stuff. And it was brutal. Like, it was awful. My father's like, oh, okay, finally, we got a lager. Great, no problem. Clink, clink, My dad's like, and then he dumped it out immediately. He's like, yeah, this is just shit. And I'm like, what is this shit? So I dumped mine out too, because I'm like, solidarity, bitches. But yeah, it was awful. Like, they were trying to flavor it somehow, and I've forgotten what it was supposed to be, but it failed miserably in my book. So, basically screw them. How dare you ruin beer for somebody like me? So, anyway, I like this. I'm surprised it's exactly where it should be. I did not have high hopes. However, Hoyne has not steered me wrong that often, so I give it up to them. Thank you for making this, because this is actually this should be emulated by Labatt or Molson or something, because flavor is important. Brewing a beer without flavor seems to be a stupid idea.
Yes. Now, I'm kind of like the same as Shane. I'm not a big fan of Pilsners. It is a sort of like a time and place kind of beer. And the time is in the middle of summer when it's really hot, and the place is usually when you're with a lot of friends. It's refreshing. Maybe you're doing like one thing I used to do with my in-laws. They have a farm just south of Duncan, and we used to go up and bale hay in the summer. And a Pilsner was an awesome way to sort of refresh after you were done working in the field for 6 hours or whatever it was, and doing some heavy lifting, and you're all sweaty and everything. And yeah, hey, I got sweaty anyway.
I just kind of grossed me out somehow.
Yeah, anyway, the Hoyne Pilsner, I've had it before, so I knew what I was getting. Is actually a really tasty beer. It's refreshing. It's easy drinking. It doesn't give you an aftertaste like some Pilsners I find do. Would I get this all the time? Would I get this in the middle of winter? Absolutely not. Other people might, though. But if you like Pilsners, you're going to love the Hoyne Pilsner.
What is this beer called again?
Well, it's called the Hoyne Pilsner, but according to the websites, it's called the Hoyner Pilsner. In fact, on their website, it is called the Hoyner Pilsner.
I know. I looked it up, and I was a little surprised, actually.
I'm disappointed that they dropped the R.
Maybe you should write them.
You should
I think I will.
Totally kick their ass. I just want to point out that looking at our style count of the Pilsners, that only 2.2% of all of our episodes have covered Pilsners. By the way, let me point out something I admitted to Dave the other day. This is episode 112. I misnumbered episode 103, and since then we actually skipped one, and it was like 104, 5, 6. So last week it was actually 111, and I said it was 110, and by all my counts, it of course was 110. And then I happened to notice that one episode going back about 10 of that. Wait a minute, this is totally wrong. How did I manage this? So we had 2 episodes of 103. So anyway, I fixed it. And this is 112 now. Yeah, so that was dumb.
Okay.
But basically, yeah.
So let's get back to talking about the Ghostbusters that came out last year. So I haven't seen it either. I don't really want to see it. The original was good enough for me. In fact, I didn't even like Ghostbusters 2. To be honest, Ghostbusters 2 is a pile of horse crap.
Don't insult Vigo.
And it can take a flying leap. To me, it's the original or none. I don't have a problem with the fact that there is an all-female cast of Ghostbusters. That isn't the issue. The issue is that they took a treasured movie from our childhoods and decided to just redo it. Now, if they had made a Ghostbusters 3, if this was like a third installment where it was sort of like a pass the torch thing to an all-female cast or whatever, because obviously the original guys would be retired by now, and maybe it's an all-female crew that works out of the fire station or whatever. I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that. But the fact that they decided to start from square one and remake it completely, I don't care if it's an all-female cast, an all-male cast, or a cast of elephants. I'm not going to like it. The fact that they were female had nothing to do with it.
I'm going to stop you right there for a second. If it was a cast
of all elephants,
right there, jerk. If it had been a cast of all elephants, I would have been all over that shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's the big
right.
That I mean this is actually was addressed by the review from Mr. Plinkett, whatever his name is. He actually took aim at Bill Murray and let loose with both barrels because, I mean it's not a big mystery that we know that Bill Murray was hugely instrumental in not having a third film with that particular cast. So the this would have worked far better and actually would have done way better in the box office had it been a sequel that we had, because here's the problem is that all the actors that were in that film that were in the original Ghostbusters film, so everyone minus Harold Ramis, of course, had bit parts as cab drivers and whatever the hell else. But they were throwaway cameos that were basically about better films. And granted, Ghostbusters 2 was definitely shaky, but if it had been a sequel where the remaining cast had been, I don't know, say the female characters for some reason were interested in seeking out and trying to find out more about why the Ghostbusters were no longer around. That would have been a bit obvious, but a little bit better, would have been a far better story, because these actors are still alive. They're still able to represent those characters from the 80s to kind of say, hey, we're going to, they should have passed the torch is all I'm saying. They really should have done we don't do that anymore for whatever fabricated reason. It killed Egon. So that actually, to me, would have been the story that I would like to have heard. Like, Harold Ramis unfortunately passed away a couple years before this movie came out. They had plenty of time, because, by the way, they actually, in the film, there's a bronze bust of Harold Ramis's head I think he's in the restaurant where the Ghostbustery girls do their thing. Anyway, whatever. But it would have been interesting, because that would have been a far more powerful story. Like, you guys did this, why are you not doing it anymore? Where's Egon? Well, let me tell you, this, that, and the other thing. Make up a story that we've never heard. We were fighting Gozer's nephew and kicked our ass and set us on fire and killed Egon. So we put our proton packs away, and there you go. I mean, that would have been a far better story, because it would have linked this for them to even start maybe another 2 or 3 Ghostbuster films, because get the torch passing out of the way and do it. I mean, as I'm a fan of the movie Generations, I like that movie because of the themes that it addresses, not necessarily what the action did, but overall the underlying theme for the whole thing about cheating death and these kinds of things actually resonates for me, because you have like William Shatner's character coming in being like, so what up, motherfuckers? I'm the hero, and you guys, I can kick some ass. 70 odd years go by. Picard's like, yo, motherfuckers, I'm going to kick some ass. And there's this guy with a beard. They did that in a way, like, on the surface, the film's not, the story is okay. They bring in a whole bunch of different things. Like the Klingon sisters that come in and become the main villain of the film.
Yeah.
But, they have all these sort of callbacks to all these other things, because they want to say, here's a bunch of callbacks to TNG. Here's a few callbacks to the original series. Let's kill Kirk. Kirk's dead. Done. They killed him twice, as a matter of fact, in that film. So, they get rid of him and they move on. The other characters are represented sort of at the very beginning. Then they're gone. You don't see them again. But it was, I think, an interesting thing where that is what Kirk, the character, is about, because we knew this from the films. We knew this from the TV show, the original series, about how he's always got this common discussion about how to cheat death. The Kobayashi Maru. I don't believe in the no-win situation. That's been established for, 15, 20 years at that point. And then they kind of nod to it gently in Generations and send off the TNG people into their own movie series.
Yeah.
They should have done that with this, because you're playing with material that's been around for a long time. It's well tread, because not only did you have two films, you had a comic series of comic books. You had the animated series. You had like 3 of them, I think. You had this material that, even though you may never have read the comic books, you might have seen the animated thing. You might have grown up a little bit with it. You might have, it had this material, this canon sort of stuff that came along. By the way, they're making a new animated Ghostbusters TV series with the original people.
For me, it was almost like they didn't pay homage or have respect for the original movie. They didn't understand what impact the original movie had on pop culture in our generation. I think they completely underestimated it. I mean, it would be like, say, taking, I don't know, something else that's totally revered and redoing it. Like, would anybody even try to redo The Wizard of Oz? I mean, you could, and you could probably make it look really fantastic and everything. But I mean, to do so is like a slap in the face to the 1939 Wizard of Oz, right?
You could argue that they have
there's
tried,
certain
though.
movies you do not remake, and
No,
I feel
it's-
Ghostbusters is one of them.
It's funny you mention that. Here, let me actually tell you this because this is the review of the Ghostbusters film, which is hilarious. You bring that up. There is a moment that was an ad-libbed moment by the blonde actress from SNL.
Kate McKinnon.
That one. They're hunting a ghost. I think it's the scene where they're like in a club or something. But she says, come out, wherever you are. She sang that part, and the director cut is apparently in the commentary, which they actually played the audio, says that moment cost them several $1,000s because it was actually in an MGM film, The Wizard of Oz, which he didn't know. He couldn't remember why they had to spend that money to license that one moment. So, because it's a song from Glinda the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz, where she's talking to the Munchkin people to come out, the evil witch is dead. So it was hilarious that you mentioned that, because they actually talked about that for a good minute, going, why did you not know, of all the films in the history of filmmaking, did you not know that the film you had to pay money to license from was The Wizard of fucking Oz? Of all it wasn't an obscure film. This film came out, 1939? What the hell? Why did anyone spend it? You should have just said, I don't know what film that's from. Why did you sing that piece? Oh, it's going to cost us money. Well, don't do it. Like, you shouldn't have done it. You should know. You suck as a filmmaker. Like it just basically devolved from that. But it's funny you mentioned that. It was hilarious. Makes me not want to watch the Ghostbusters film even more.
And it's funny because I was going to say, I mean, you wouldn't take like a classic, like say Star Trek, and remake it. Well, they've done that. You wouldn't take like a classic like Star Wars and remake it. Well, it was kind of done with The Force Awakens. And you know, I don't have a problem with The Force Awakens. I don't
Really.
And
I don't either. I refer to it as the love letter to the fans from a fan. That's what it is to me.
Yes.
This is going to be obvious. We need to really forget that those other movies were made. If they left a bad taste in your mouth, this will cleanse it somewhat, and the next one will be even better. So.
Although I'm hearing early reports that the next one coming out is going to be a lot like Empire Strikes Back,
which I certainly hope it will, because that's how Star Wars films are made.
I know.
I don't recall Episode 2 doing that, but I have to admit, it has been a long time since I've seen Episode 2 or 3. I've actually watched not last Christmas, the Christmas before. I watched. The non-cheese edition of Episode 1, which was a fan. It might still be there. I don't know, but a fan cut. But it was not just a cut of the film. The fan actually said, "You know what? I wanted to cut the film, cut things out that were kind of lame, cut the things out that were sort of the common threads, but I also wanted to make the villains actually more evil." But not like, I'm evil. No, but just make them so that they were characters that were just doing what they wanted to do, and then they had a goal in mind. So he made a conscious choice of redubbing all the dialogue for a lot of the mask characters, like Jar Jar. who's in it very briefly. But he took all the audio dialogue out of those characters, like all the nematode characters that were part of the Trade Federation, and gave them.
That's what they look like. They look like nematodes.
They're nematodes, yeah. But they gave them voices that you might actually hear in the Star Wars universe. So when you hear like Jawas speaking, they have a very particular dialect and they sound like a particular thing. These characters were given that. They gave the nematodes. He gave the nematodes a particular way of speaking. He gave Jar Jar Binks a particular way of speaking. In the very brief, I think it's the only scene that Jar Jar is in. I think is when they first meet him. And then the rest of the time, he doesn't really say much. And also the other cut that I liked was those announcers from the pod race. Those guys are completely gone. They cut those guys entirely out. But the voices that he created are based on the who is the dude that walks on his hands?
Sebulba.
That one, Sebulba. Because if you can remember what Sebulba's kind of his speech pattern was like, he tried to replicate and change them to match the characters, but he gave them those kinds of voices. Which, with the best part was that when Jar Jar showed up, Jar Jar, he was able to rewrite the entire dialogue because he had to put in subtitles. So he wrote whatever the hell text he wanted to, because he was like, okay, well, this is like, I'm going to make it a basic introduction. Hi, my name is this. You saved me. Thank you so much. Here, I'm going to take you to where the city is, because they cut out the under planet's core. They cut that all out, which I was thankful for. So it actually pushed the story along a lot faster, and it cut about, I think, 40 minutes out of the movie at the end of the day. I think the ending pieces are relatively intact with the big battle and stuff on Naboo. But it actually gave me it reintroduced me to the fact that I could actually respect this film were it cut properly, and a lot of the sort of subplotty gag stuff was taken out. He's also done the same thing to the other films, to the 2 and 3, but I haven't actually watched those because I felt so sad from the second one. The third one, don't even get me started.
Oh, I like the third one.
Oh, that's right. You're a lover of the third one. Well, hey, you should watch the non-cheese cut of that. Because that way you'll be able to see fully intact. I love you deeply. Wow. I'm sorry if what's her face? Who was the actress?
Natalie Portman.
If Natalie Portman had said that to me in that way, I'd have been like, I'm out because you're nuts. I don't care who you are. I'm gone. I'm gonna go find me someone who doesn't try to force it that badly. Truly, deeply, I love this beer more than anything. But anyway,
right, we're cut off.
So Dave,
Yes.
tell me, what beer would you like to see next on this show?
Oh man.
Well,
Honestly, I have no clue.
Dave's pick next, isn't it? So
It is. That's why I'm asking. I'm kind of curious because last week was wait a minute. Let me pull up the spreadsheet.
That was you, I think.
That was the choice that I made, which was the
Grapefruit Ale.
The Grapefruit Ale.
Whistler.
So we had an ale, which was actually really good, surprisingly enough.
I really enjoyed it.
But so we've had an ale, a Pilsner. The week before that was a stout, which was the barrel aged one, which you picked. So how are we going to follow up a Pilsner? Like, what are we going to, are we going to try a lager maybe? Another summer one or what?
Well, I don't know. I think Dave will go down to his store, picks a seasonal from 6 months ago that we can't find.
That is very, very possible. Yes.
Well played, Alan. Well played. That deserves sunglasses at night. No, that's very true. I mean, well, no, I'm actually serious. Like, what would we follow it up with? Because we've had a couple of ales. We haven't had a pale. We haven't had a wheat lately.
I did
Ooh,
actually see a wheat that kind of piqued my interests.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was from though.
There is
Well,
I don't want to influence your decision at all, Dave. They're category 12. Category 12 makes a great wit beer called Waveform.
Which you've already had.
No, we have not done that on the show. But I've already had it, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You've already had it. So
I've already had it. It's very good.
I kind of like getting stuff that none of us have had, but I know that's a bit more of a challenge with you two.
That's a bit of a challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
I would stay away if I were you from
I could see doing
seasonals
it.
because you have the seasonals from 6 months ago. And we don't.
That's right.
So if it's a seasonal, don't get it.
You know
point out
why?
that right
Because we
now-
don't have the population, so it doesn't sell out.
Yeah.
So we had
You
it
just
shipped
need
to
to-
us
you just
6
need to
months
drink more.
ago, and everybody in Vancouver and Victoria wants it, so it's gone. And here in the Valley, people do want it, but there's a lot less people, so we go through it
By
slower.
the way, the category 12, only category 12 that's being carried right now by the BC liquor store system is this one. It is the Wild IPA.
That's an old
Um,
one.
where is
know,
category
but it's-
12 from? Is it Islands or
Yeah,
or
they're
mainlands?
they're in Central Saanich.
Okay?
Yeah, for category 12, you don't want to go to a liquor store. You want to go to like a private,
Liquor store.
yeah, like for you, Legacy or Beaver Tails or whatever that place is called. What is it? Oh, Brewery Creek. Beaver? What?
Category. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, I want to point out one thing. Speaking of beer, or not, I've actually fielded several questions wanting to know what cruise line you went on. I guess you posted. I actually had to look this up today. You posted a thing on Facebook about going on an impromptu trip, and I've had 3 people ask me, "What cruise line? Where are they going? What kind of things are they going to?" I'm like,
Was it your mom, your
looked it
dad,
up.
and your sister?
my mother, my sister, and one other person. But it was kind of amusing to me because I had to look that up because I'm like, is he? I have no idea. And as soon as I looked at it, I thought they're abandoning their children. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So it was kind of amusing.
So for context, my wife and I, we went for a walk down at the Ogden Point in Victoria one night, and there was 3 huge cruise ships docked, and we were right next to one. I don't even remember what cruise line it was from, and we took a picture of ourselves in front of it and posted the picture on Facebook. It says, "We're going on a cruise. Bye, everybody." Oh my god, everybody fell for it. I mean, yeah, like
it was
yeah, we're
kind
just
of
gonna
amusing.
decide to just go on a cruise, just like
Screw
drop
you
of the hat.
guys, we're out of here.
Yeah. Hey kids, we're going for a walk. Oh, by the way, we're gonna go for a cruise. See you in 2 weeks.
Oh my god, yeah, it was amazing.
People
take
believe
pictures.
whatever they hear on the internet.
Especially on Facebook, which actually reminds me. By the way, I got a phone call a couple days ago, day before yesterday, from our correspondent abroad, Locke. He is going to be back in Victoria in late August, so he might be able to join us for a show or 2. Although I will be going on vacation at some point. I was supposed to be on vacation this week. I'm actually supposed to be in Creston, BC right now.
Oh,
However, my pug decided to reveal to us that she's actually hurt her back. So she's getting a bunch of physical therapy and drugs and cage rest. So I couldn't leave. So I didn't bother to bring it up last week because she'd had X-rays by then. So yeah, sometime late this month I'll be away for a couple weeks. So yeah.
Okay. You're not gonna miss Beer Fest, are you?
I'll let you know when I. Oh crap!
I've already bought your ticket.
Remind me when Beer Fest is. That's on the what day in Victoria?
Friday, September
the 13th.
The 8th. All right. So there you go.
So you're not going to miss Beer Fest?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, good. You better not. Well, I will be right angry.
We do not want that.
I'll pull a Dave. So, Dave, are you going?
That's yet to be determined at this point.
It's not like you haven't had a year to plan this. No, I should be back for this.
Says Shane.
Shut up! Yeah.
All right.
Guys with faces.
Okay, so I'm sure Dave will pick a great beer for next week.
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to mention, this is out of sort of
okay, Dave. We're supportive.
Interest, curiosity. Look for Gladstone stuff.
Yes, Gladstone will be at Beer Fest this year.
Okay, well, I just saw cans.
Red Truck.
I saw cans today for the first time at My Liquor Plus. So I'm curious if Alan, you've probably got a better chance of finding it, but I'm curious if Shane can find it. I believe it was
around. I've never seen it around.
I believe it was the Belgian wit, actually, if I remember right.
Up your bum.
What?
Belgian wit up your bum, because I've never seen a Belgian wit around here. I will look. I'll find out if we get it around here, because
he'll let you know on Tuesday.
Legacy is not carrying it. Neither is the BC Liquor Store. I'll check in with my other two liquor stores that I go to and see if they indeed.
Don't forget to check with Beaver Tails.
I'm looking that up.
You might not want to.
Beaver Tails Liquor Store. Wow. If you Google Beaver Tails liquor store, you actually come up with Beaver Tails Pastry. Making pastries since 1978. Looking for finding a beaver tail. Let's see. Is it available? It's available in Montreal, Toronto. Oh! It's in Victoria as well, and on Hastings. Oh wow, who knew? Oh, they only sell it at the P&E. Weird. But it's in Victoria as well. Beaver tails. By the way, if you've ever had a beaver tail, have one. That said, there's something called the Grizzly Paw Brewing Company that makes a beaver tail raspberry ale. It's from Alberta. I've never heard of this brewery before, so we should put this on our list of things that potentially we would like to check out.
Okay.
From a website called Liquor Direct.
I'm writing it down.
So there you go.
I'm writing it down.
I'm putting the link in the chat. So there you go. But what's interesting about this is they ship their beer, but you have to buy as much. You have to have $25 or more for them to ship it. Interesting. Note to self: raspberry beaver tail. I'm sure that actually sounds good now I've said it out loud. So there's a lot of beer news going on this week. Nothing
Maybe
really
we should save it all for next week.
So I was going to say, the one story I do want to mention is that my beer is far superior to any beer that we've had on the show. So there you go. But the only story I want to bring up this week is the independent craft brewer that has been crowned supreme champion at the Great British Beer Festival this week is a goat's milk beer, something Dave would most likely drink.
Yep.
So there you go. It's a beer that I don't think we can get here, but I think we should try it. It's a standout beer, has a lovely balance of malt, hops, and full flavor of goat's milk. And they're great.
No, it's good.
The Great British Beer Festival opened recently this week, has 50,000 people visit per day. They have more than 900 beers and ciders and wines to represent at the festival.
Holy.
So there you go. His beer is described as the champion beer because it was originally brewed and named for a festival taking place at the Goat Pub near Peterborough, as refreshing with a bitter finish. We were like a lot of small producers, I imagine. We like to let the beer do its own thing, 8 to 10 days before we cask it, and it goes out. Nicely done. So there you go, boys and girls. Goat's Milk Beer is the top beer in all of the United Kingdom. As Commonwealthers, though, we're drinking Pilsner. See you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe and all that kind of crap that you probably already know. We drink beer. We're Canadian. I don't know what else to say.